recording it. Thank you for reminding me to record. So I think that is it. That is how you can create a database, use the database, and show the databases. Those are the basic commands for creating, using, and showing the databases. But if you are not the type of guy who want like to use this user interface, you can also use you can connect the database using the CMD. Let me show you how maybe you can. There is the CMD here. You can maybe try to connect through the CMD. I think Sylvia was said she was using the CMD. So you can either use the CMD or maybe use the MySQL workbench. But for these classes, we are going to use the MySQL workbench. Um, so after that command showing the databases, I think we are not going to use this because we have not created any table yet. And also the next command is that you can delete a database or even delete a table. So I think the best thing to approach this, we can maybe create a table. Let's see if we are able to create a table. Um, let's create a table. This is how you create a table. You can just click into the database that you want to use. Let's say you want to create a table for these schools. So you just have like to come to tables, and then you just right click, and then there is an option here, create table, and then it will prompt you to create a table name. Let's say maybe you want to create a table name that is called maybe students. You can name your table students, and then now after creating the name, the table students, of course it must have some columns to store the data. So how do you do that? So here is where we add the columns. You can just add the column name. Uh, let's see how you can do that. Let's see these. Good. Let's have the column name. We can call it maybe, let's say, student ID, student underscore ID. And now this is where we said the student ID will be the primary key for this column, meaning that you can access the student by school ID. So we are going just to pick this PK. PK means to mean a primary key. So we can just mark this. And now here is where we set the data type. I think we just learned data types. So in this case, we have, for the student ID, we can use integer. But if you don't want to use integer, you can just click on this box here, and then you press this drop down. You can choose from these options that we have here for the data types. There are so many, but in this case, we want to use integer, because you notice but if maybe that is a mixture of numbers and let's say characters, you can use this varchar. But in this case, we are going to use the integer. What else do we choose here? It must be unique. We can choose it must be unique here. I think that's all for. Let me choose it. It's a primary key, and also it's not null. So every student must have an ID, and then that ID must be unique. I think that's all about. Those are some of the things we should set for this field. And um, after that, we can just press apply, and then you notice we have now this query created for us. That is a create table, and then we have where do you want to create that table? We are creating it in the school's database. And what is the name of that table is students. And because you are going to delete it, it will just have one field. That is the student ID. So we have the student ID, and you notice that it is indicated that it is of type integer, and it should not be null. And then there are other flags that are set here of that is the unique index, uh, and also it should be primary. It should be primary key. So this is auto generated. So let's apply to create that. And you notice that you are told that SQL script was successfully applied to the database, meaning that that table has been created. So let's finish that. So if we get back to our SQL file here, and now let's say we want to use this command here, this command for showing tables. Let me show you that. If you now we were to use this command, show tables, we should be able to see the table that we have just created. Let me just highlight that and execute. Has it executed really? Let's see. So you notice here, after it has executed, we have a table that has just one column here. That is the let me see this. We just have one table. That is the tables in the school database. So if you want maybe to see the data in this table, and in this case we don't have any data in this table. So maybe when we use the select then from the school dot students, we are just able to see this student ID field here, and we are told that it should not be null. So as we proceed, we are going to see how we can create some good tables with multiple fields, and even how we can add data to these tables. Um, so let's see how we can delete a database, and immediately you delete a database, you'll also delete the table that it contains. So I think you can just start with this command, that is the drop table, so that at least we can see when you use this short table, we should be able to see the table that we have created. And now when we drop and use this command again, we should not be able to see the tables. And then we see how you can drop the whole database. But You should be keen on what database you want to drop. You should confirm that in case you have a large database. In this case, I think I just have in my in my workbench, I just have just several databases that do not store maybe relevant data. But in case you are maybe in a in a company, you should be keen on what database that you want to drop. But for this case, let's see how you can we can first drop we can first drop a table. And in this case, we want to drop this table that is called students. Uh, so in this case, we can just say the first command is let's start by use we want to use schools database. So use schools. Let me just execute these. You can just highlight these and use this command to execute that. Um, we have seen that this command for let's first of all show the tables, and then we drop that table. So let's see the tables that we have here. So I think I want to use caps. Show tables. Let me just highlight these and run it. And you notice that we have this one table here that is called students. To drop it, we can use this command prompt, that is drop table, and then the table name. The table name in this case is students, and we can just execute this command and see what happens. So immediately we have dropped these. I think we can just run this and just to confirm that we have deleted that. And now you notice that the tables in schools, we have no, we have deleted the table students. So meaning that it's already gone. So also you can delete the whole database. Uh, Let me just show. Let's use the command show databases, and we see the databases that we have. This is the list of databases that we have in this Workbench server. So, and I want us to delete these schools database. And how do we do that? Use this command. That is the drop database, and then the database name. In this case, we want to delete schools. Uh, Let me delete that and execute this to confirm that we have deleted the table, the database schools. So if you check from our list here, we don't have any. We don't have the database schools. So it's already gone. But these are commands that you should be keen while executing them, just to avoid deleting the relevant databases in an organization. So I think that is it. I don't know if there is any question about deleting, creating tables, and also deleting them in this workbench, this SQL server. So any question on that? I think there is a question from, oh, That is Caroline.
Yes, when you are dropping the database, do you have to when you don't specify the exact database, will it delete everything? Ama italeta error?
Uh, as I have just said that this is the syntax for dropping. You must specify the database that you want to delete. You can just try to drop 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 databases, and then you see what. In fact, you are going to get an error from the word go, because this is not complete. This is not complete syntax for dropping a database.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
thank you.
yeah, yeah. That should be the syntax. Drop database and then the database name. Any other question? Do we have any other question regarding how we create a database and how even we delete them? I think silence means we are good. Uh, After now creating maybe a table in the database, you might want to see the structure, its structure, and we use this command that is called describe. We just have to say to just to write the describe and then the table that you want to describe. In this case, I think you have just deleted our table. I think I have one here that we can maybe describe. Uh, so if we get maybe to this database here, we have a number of tables in this case. We have a table that holds the brands. We have another table that holds the categories. We have another table that holds customers. Um, so let me say maybe I want to describe this table here. I'll just delete these and say that I can direct this workbench to use, that is the bike store database. Can just execute that, and then after that, I want to describe. This is describe. You can use describe Brad's Brad's. Oops. Let's see what we have here. And now you notice that when I say describe brands, it means that I'm describing the first the first table here. And what do I have in these? What do I have in this table? So you notice that I'm getting the field column. We have the type column. We have the whether it allows null values. We have also the key, whether it is a primary key or a secondary key. And then we have the default and extra column. So when we get into the field column, this is where you are going to get the fields in these the fields for this table. Like in this case, we have the brand ID and we have the brand name. So also we have the data type for each field. That is the like the brand ID. It is of type ID, of type integer, and it doesn't allow null values, and then it is the primary key. Also, we have the brand name. It's of type a variable char, or what we call the varchar. We can also try to describe a different table because we have several. Let's see what we have in categories. I think I can execute these and see what we have. Uh, I think also in this category we have category ID and the category name. We should describe a table that has more than two fields. Let's check the stores. Like this one. When I describe the stores table, we should be able to see all these fields for these particular table. That is the stores. Where we have the store ID, we have the store name, we have the phone, email, information such as the street, city, state, and also the zip code. So these are the kind of these are the kind of information that you are getting when you use the describe. So basically, this is how you describe a table to get its structure. So I don't know if there is any question on how you can use the describe command. You can also check the stocks. Let's see what you have in the stocks. I think you just have three fields. So this means that for a database can have more than one table, and we are going to see how we can create a database with more than one table like this one. We have more than one table. So I think that's all about viewing table structure using the describe using the describe what the describe command. So I think we have already covered this how you can create how you can create table, but at least we should now check how you can insert records, because now after you have created a table in a database, the next step is always now to store data in those tables. So I think you can just see how you can create a table and insert some information. So in this case, we are going to create just a simple table uh, that is called employee, and then you are going to store this data for an employee. That is the employee ID, the employee name, his or her city, and then we are going to have his or her pay, or maybe you can change this one to salary. So I think it's just easy. We use the create table employee, but first we must specify the database that we want to use for that case. So I think you can just use let's create a database here. We are going to create a database that is called, let me use this, and I create a database that is called school. So in our school setup, we must have employees. So let me just have a database that is called schools or a school. Then I can just click apply. Oops. I'm told something here. That is the apply changes. Selected name conflict with an existing schema. Good. We can just let's create a database that is called what? or we can have in the schools. Okay, let's have bounty. Bounty what? Bounty employees, or let's have bounty company. So you can just create a schema called bounty company, or a database that is called company. I think I've applied that. And immediately you create that database, it should appear here. And in this bounty company, this is what we want to create. We want to create an employee table. So we are going to use this command, use bounty. Oops, should be in small letters. That is bounty underscore company, and then the semicolon. And then I can just execute this. And now that you notice that I'm using this bounty company, so anything that I'll do below this command, it will be done in this database here. So we want to create a table, and this table is called let's use the create command. Create. Let me just use the. Let's have this. So we can see all the fields here. So you want to create a table name that is called create table employee. Table employees. So in these employees, I want to have employee ID. So you can just have emp ID, and this ID is of type integer. You can just use int or integer. Let me just use the full name integer. I don't think we should have R there. It should be integer. Then when you are creating these fields, you should separate them with commas. So like now we have the emp ID, it's of type integer. Then I go ahead and add the second field here. It's emp. We can have employee name, and it's of type char. I think I should use. Let me just use the caps here. Char. And this one, let me just use the integer. Integer. Then comma. Then the second. There's the third. The third thing we should have in this table is the city. The city again, it's of type varchar. And when you use the varchar, it's always good to specify the number of characters. Maybe that field maybe should have. So in this case, we can just use 30. And also this one, you can have char again, city. Char, let's use maybe 30 also. And maybe you can have the salary. Salary for this salary for this employee. This one again should be, we can say, we can talk of it's a decimal in case it has some decimal, and then we specify the max and minimum. We specify the number of decimal these can have. So let's have it. Let's leave it at that point. So when we execute these, we are going to have a table like this one, where we have four fields. So let's execute these. To execute these, you can just highlight these, all of it, and then press this icon here to execute. Let's see what we have. And you notice it has executed successfully, because we are told that create table employees has 0 row affected, and we have the tick here. So it means that this table has been created, and now you can describe the table. Let's use the describe command to see the structure of this table. So let's describe employees. I think you should be able to execute these and see what we. And I get told that employees already exist. Oops. I want to execute these, just these. Yeah, it should run. So let's have a look at these. And then now here we have a table that is called employees, and it has all these fields. That is the employee ID, the employee name, the city, and salary. And also you notice that we are indicating type for the data type for each case. And also in this case we didn't set the we set it can accept null. To accept null, it means that you can fail to include the during the inserting process. You can fail to include the data for these fields. So let's see how we can now insert. We can insert data in this table, and it's just quite easy how we do the insert, because we use the insert into command. This is the command that we use to insert a record, or maybe data in a table. It's just easy, because it is insert, and then into, you just specify the table name that you want to insert to, and then now you indicate the values. So the values, you are going to indicate them. You're going to have the first value, second value, and even the third and the fourth value. Like in this case, we are just trying to insert into employee, and then what are we inserting are some values. So let's do that. Just quite easy how we do the insert. Uh, the insert process. So let me just highlight this and comment it out. So let's do the insert. So we want to insert into, and then we just name our table. That is the employees. Let's see this employees. And then what do we want to insert? We want to insert some values, and these values we want to they are there are four fields. So we are going to start with the first field, which is ID, and we can say maybe this is the first entry in this. So we can maybe it can have an ID of one, and then we can have the employee name. So, and because employee name is of character type, we must enclose that using either single quotes or a single quotes. So we can have the name of the employee here is let's use Sylvia. Uh, Sylvia, and then we can have the city, comma, also the city here. You notice that it is of type character. So again, we are going to enclose that into or you can enclose that using the either single quote or double quotes. So let's indicate the city. You can say maybe Sylvia resides in Nairobi, or you can say maybe Thika Road. Thika Road. Then what else do you want to include about Sylvia? That is the salary. In this case, salary is, we can say that Sylvia earns 50,000 per month, right? Anything else that you are leaving behind? Let me see. We have insert into employees. Let me see this. Oh, in here is a dot. It should be a comma. So when we execute this command, we should be able to see we should be able to insert the record in this table. So let's execute this, and you notice that it has executed successfully. Let's insert another record. So I think I can just copy this and change the data. I'm a lazy typer, by the way. So let's have ID2, and then maybe here we can have Charlotte. Charlotte. Then Charlotte lives in, let's say, Nairobi. And then Charlotte earns a salary of 45,000. So let's add another record. You can have ID3. And then in this case, you're going to have a gentleman. We can have Amos Sumbi. We can also say Amos lives in Kasarani. Then Amos earns a salary of 70,000. So we can just highlight these and execute. So now it means that in our table we should have three records. But how do we get to see these records? So that now brings us to another command that will enable you to see the data that is stored in your database. So, and that query is a select. We use the select query, and we are saying here that the select command of SQL empower you to make a request to retrieve stored records from the database. So I think you can just get into the syntax, the syntax for the syntax for these. So we use the select. You can either choose a distinct record, or you can choose all using the asterisk, and then we just indicate the column name, and then we indicate the source, that is from the table, and maybe you can set up some condition where maybe a certain condition. You can also add order by, but in this case I just want us to use just a simple select. We want to select all the records. We want to select all the records uh, from from our table, from our database here. So yes, we want to select, that is, we use that statistic to select out from the employees. I want to select all that from employees. I think that should be the select is not valid. This is because we have no semicolon here. So let me just include that select records. Oops. Select data records from a table. I can just highlight this and I comment it out so that it cannot execute. So I can just now execute this, and immediately I run that. I should be able to see the records that I have inserted. That is, we have the employee ID, we have the employee name, city, and then the salary. And then you notice that this has been added to two decimal places. That is .00.00 in each case, which we didn't include while inserting. But this is because we said that when creating this table, that the salary should be uh, in decimal, should have decimal data type. That is why we are getting 50,000.00, and also we have 45,000.00, 70,000.00. Uh, I think that is it. Inserting and also retrieving data from the database. So, any question from that? Amos, are we good up to that point?
Yes, we are.
What about Caroline?
I'm okay.
Okay, good. So, Stella, any questions? Stella,
No, no, I'm good.
are you good? Uh, if there is no any question, yeah, I can see we have about 8 minutes also. So I think you can just You can just check another query here. I think you have seen this. Select from. This is the simplest form of select query. But you notice in here I said that you can modify select query to be even more specific. You want to select from maybe a certain table, and you can even write maybe where condition. I think you can see how you can use a where condition here. Maybe you want to. Let me just. But you are going to cover the where condition. Uh, let's see where condition in where condition in select statement. Oops. Let me comment out this. So let's say maybe you want to retrieve records where an employee has a salary of over 45,000 or over 50,000. We can also use the select, but now this time with a condition. And in this case, we want to use a where condition. So we can just say select from. We still want to select from and select. We want to select all the records from employees where uh, where now we must indicate the condition where the salary is maybe greater than let's say 50,000. Let's use greater than 45,000. So let's execute this and see what we are going to get. And now you notice that we are just retrieving two records. That is the record for Sylvia and Amos Sumbi, simply because they have salaries above 45,000. I think you can also retrieve data where our salary is less than 45,000. Let's see this. And you notice that there is no employee who is paid less than 45,000 in bounty company. And that's all. That is how you can create a database. You create a table in that database, and even try to insert records, and also even query for various records, or maybe even retrieve specific data using select query. So any question up to that point? I'm hoping that we are all good. Maybe by show of hands, let me see the people who have understood that. Thumbs up. I can see most of us are following. So from tomorrow, I think we should be able to to have some more complex select queries, and even maybe before even we have a select query, I'll share with you a database that we are going to to be queried tomorrow. So, do you have any question, comment, or suggestion before we close the today's class?
I have a question.
Yes.
So after doing all this, it
Yes.
saves automatically. Ama there's a way of saving.
Or like saving the database tables or what?
Yeah.
So immediately you create a database. It's saved in this in the MySQL workbench. So anything that you do with that database, it will be saved. So you don't have to save it. Are we good? I think um, I think that is it. That is it about creating a database, creating tables, and inserting records in a database. So any other question? Radovan, do you have any question? Radovan, can you hear me? What about Victoria? Any question? Victoria, any question?